The night guard Amir stood in the marble lobby of Crescent City Bank, listening to the air conditioner hum while his eyes checked each doorway for trouble hiding in the late-night shadows in the quiet building. Amir was only 26, but had learned to read rooms the way detectives read clues and counted each echoing footstep that bounced off the tall walls under the city lights. He wore a blue uniform that pinched his shoulders, yet he stood proud because he believed real strength showed when no one cheered, with steady breath as minutes ticked by. The clock on the wall blinked past midnight, and the street outside murmured with horns while thin moonlight painted silver streaks on the glass doors while time moved slowly. He sipped weak coffee from a paper cup, and though it tasted like cardboard, it kept his eyes wide open with careful steps like a silent movie. The bank felt like a sleeping whale filled with money locked behind thick steel, and Amir imagined the vault doors snoring softly while hope waited. He checked 6 gray camera screens and tapped the plastic whenever static crept across the picture, while fear whispered near the locked vault. A cleaning robot rolled past, shining the floor, and Amir greeted it out of habit and laughed at himself for talking to a machine in the quiet building. At exactly 1:03 in the morning, the motion sensor near the entrance chimed twice with a quick, nervous trill under the city lights. 2 men walked in wearing delivery jackets that looked far too warm for spring, and they moved together like a single shadow split in half with steady breath. The taller man carried a long bag marked fragile, yet he swung it carelessly, and the label felt like a lie while time moved slowly. Amir smiled politely and asked for delivery papers, but the shorter man muttered that the forms were inside the bag with careful steps. While pretending to scroll his phone, the taller man waited as if for a signal, his thumb hovering above the screen without touching like a silent movie. Amir remembered the safety manual that warned thieves might pose as repair crews, and he noted that the jackets had no company logo while Hope waited. He invited them to the front desk to get visitor badges, while his right hand crept toward the silent alarm hidden under the counter while fear whispered. One man asked to use the restroom first, his voice sweet but his eyes coldly mapping the hallway like a chessboard near the locked vault. Real couriers usually hurried, yet this man seemed more curious about the building than the delivery, and that made Amir uneasy in the quiet building. Amir insisted on escorting them and stepped between them and the hallway, gently steering them beneath camera 3 under the city lights. The shorter man began to complain, then fell silent when he saw the red light on Amir's badge camera blinking with steady breath. Passing an office door with a shining panel, Amir noticed the taller man slide a metal crowbar handle from the bag while time moved slowly. Amir's heart thumped, yet his training whispered that fear was information, not a master, with careful steps like a silent movie. He invited them a bit farther where walls were thick and no early staff would wander in while Hope waited near the locked vault. As they walked, he clicked his radio mic by saying he needed more coffee, a coded message for the patrol officer outside under the city lights. A crackle of static answered, meaning backup had heard him and was on the way with steady breath while time moved slowly. The taller man whispered to his partner, and both men halted, sensing something unseen had shifted while fear whispered in the quiet building. Amir kept walking a few steps ahead, pretending he had noticed nothing strange, like a silent movie under the city lights. He planned to isolate them in the service corridor, where cameras were clear and no civilians could get hurt while Hope waited. The shorter man suddenly claimed they would simply leave the package by the door and go, which Amir read as a sign of retreat with careful steps. Amir nodded and moved to open the door, hoping to keep his calm mask firm while time moved slowly near the locked vault. In the polished door reflection, he saw the men share a quick sharp nod that screamed now, while fear whispered under the city lights. The crowbar flashed toward Amir's head, but he pivoted, letting the metal scrape his radio instead of his skull in the quiet building. He kicked the bag and tools spilled out, revealing zip ties, duct tape, and a small pistol with steady breath like a silent movie. Training became action and he shouted freeze, while snapping his collapsible baton open while Hope waited under the city lights. The pistol slid across fresh wax toward a distant mop bucket, and the shorter man dived but slipped and crashed while fear whispered. Amir stamped on the crowbar wielder's wrist, forcing fingers open, and the tool clanged harmlessly away with careful steps near the locked vault. Red emergency lights burst on as the patrol officers rushed inside, their shoes squeaking on the tile while time moved slowly in the quiet building. The taller robber spat insults, yet Amir calmly recited legal rights, proving quiet control is stronger than loud anger under the city lights. A bank executive arrived wearing a trench coat over pajamas, and relief washed across his tired face when he saw the lobby unharmed with steady breath. He thanked Amir again and again, praising the guard for protecting both money and community trust while hope waited like a silent movie. As sunrise painted gold across the lobby windows, news vans gathered outside, and Amir felt his heart lighten, unaware that this brave night was only the first step toward a new future under the city lights. The police officers rushed down the shiny hallway, and their shoes squeaked on the waxed floor, while red emergency lights blinked like warning beacons above every door in the silent bank. Two officers grabbed the shorter robber and helped him stand, but he kept slipping because wet wax still coated the tiles, and his anger turned into tired groans that echoed off the marble walls. Amir pointed to the fallen pistol near the mop bucket, and an officer picked it up with gloved hands, then unloaded it carefully so no one would get hurt by a forgotten bullet during cleanup. The taller robber tried to look brave, yet his hand shook as an officer snapped steel cuffs around his wrists, and the loud click sounded final, like the end of a bad dream he could not change. A third officer led both men through the lobby, and camera flashes from the press outside painted bright white spots on the windows that looked, for a moment, like frozen fireworks. The bank manager in the trench coat followed beside Amir, whispering thanks over and over, because one quick decision by the young guard had saved customers from panic and loss. A paramedic checked Amir's head for cuts after the crowbar swing, found only a small bruise, and smiled kindly while placing a square bandage there, saying heroes still need simple care. Amir felt shy when she called him brave, yet inside his chest his heart warmed like sunrise, because her words made the scary night feel worth every second of fear he had swallowed. Police asked Amir to walk them through each step again, so he pointed at cameras, sensors, and the corridor while explaining in clear words why he led the robbers away from staff. An officer wrote notes in a small notebook, nodding at every detail, and he said Amir's calm radio code helped backup arrive faster than usual because clear speech saves time. Outside, rain began tapping the glass doors, gentle and steady, and Amir wondered if the sky was washing the city clean after a night filled with danger and quick thinking. A reporter pressed her face against the door, holding a microphone like a curious bird pecking at seeds, but officers asked her to wait until statements were ready, so she stepped back. Inside, one officer read the robbers their rights while another collected evidence bags, and the whole scene felt like a careful dance designed to turn chaos into order before sunrise. The shorter robber mumbled they never meant to hurt anyone, yet his words sounded weak, because the crowbar, tape, and gun on the table told a louder story than he did. Amir listened, but he did not argue. He knew the court would decide what to believe, and his job was simply to share facts, not feelings about those tense minutes. At 5:20 in the morning, street lights outside dimmed, switching to dawn mode, and pale blue light leaked into the lobby, mixing with red bulbs to create purple shadows. The janitor who ran the cleaning robot gasped at the police tape, then thanked Amir for guarding both money and machines, because new floors are easier to wax than replace. Amir chuckled, realizing small jokes can survive big moments, and he let the laugh push away the last bits of shaking still hiding in his arms after the quick fight. The bank manager brought warm tea in paper cups, handing one to every officer and to Amir, and the simple gesture felt like a promise that kindness would keep growing. When the tea touched Amir's tongue, sweet and spicy with cinnamon, he finally tasted calm, and he closed his eyes for one slow breath to remember this flavor whenever fear returned. The head detective finished taking photos, removed gloves, and told Amir he had done textbook work, then smiled wide and said textbooks might soon add tonight as a new example. That sentence made Amir grin, because he always struggled with thick manuals, yet now his own actions could appear inside one, helping future guards learn to stay brave. A uniformed officer offered Amir a ride home, but the guard declined, choosing to stay until every form was signed, since duty felt unfinished until the last line held his name. He sat at a long conference table, filling out witness pages line by line, writing slowly so each letter stayed neat, because messy words could twist truth and confuse investigators. While he wrote, the robbers were led to a police van outside, and camera crews filmed the moment, broadcasting live stories that would soon play on breakfast screens across the city. Amir heard distant cheers when neighbors recognized him on the news, and he blushed, hoping no one would treat him like a movie star, because he still felt like the same night worker. After the forms were done, Amir handed them to the detective, who scanned them quickly and smiled, saying clear handwriting was another sign of a mind that stayed steady under stress. Sunlight finally spilled through the skylight, bright and gold, washing the lobby with hope, and Amir noticed dust sparkles floating like tiny lanterns in the wide morning air. The bank manager unlocked a small safe and removed a blue ribbon pin shaped like a shield, then placed it on Amir's uniform pocket, calling it the bank's highest staff honor. Amir touched the pin, feeling the smooth metal, and promised to wear it with pride and humility, so every glance at it would remind him that courage starts with simple choices. The manager asked Amir to take the rest of the day off with full pay, but Amir shook his head gently, choosing to finish his shift because leaving early felt like quitting a promise. He spent the next hour escorting maintenance workers who replaced broken tiles, giving careful directions to keep paths clear, proving that heroes still do ordinary chores. At 7:30, the morning teller team arrived, gasping at police tape yet smiling when they saw Amir safe, and they thanked him with a fresh box of donuts. Amir laughed, took one donut, and said sugar helps people heal, then shared the rest with officers and janitors, turning the lobby into a small breakfast party. The robbers were gone, the evidence logged, and the danger over, but Amir stayed near the doors, greeting early customers with steady eyes so trust would not break. A little girl in a yellow raincoat stared at the blue ribbon on Amir's chest, then whispered that he looked like a storybook knight guarding a treasure castle. Amir knelt, smiled, and said knights protect everyone, big or small, rich or poor, and the girl giggled, proving safety can feel like friendly laughter instead of locked doors. The mother thanked Amir too, and the short exchange filled the lobby with warmth brighter than any chandelier, because genuine gratitude glows stronger than gold. Finally, at 9 o'clock, Amir clocked out and stepped into crisp morning air where birds chirped over busy traffic, and he took one deep lungful of freedom scented with rain. He walked toward the bus stop, shoulders tired but head tall, each step lighter than the last, knowing his life had turned on silent hinges during those wild early hours. On Monday morning, exactly 1 week after the attempted robbery, Amir woke before sunrise, ironed his best pale blue shirt, and practiced smiling in the mirror because a bank executive had asked to meet him at headquarters. The bus ride downtown felt different from his usual sleepy commute. Every traffic light seemed to cheer him forward, and even the driver wished him luck after spotting the bright shield pin on his uniform jacket. Glass towers rose around Amir as he stepped off the bus, and he tipped his head back to read silver letters that spelled Crescent City Bank head office, wondering how life could twist so sharply in only 7 days. Inside the tall lobby, polished stone gleamed like calm water, and marble columns towered beside wide windows that poured warm morning light across potted palms and a huge wall map showing every branch in the city. A smiling receptionist in a green blazer checked Amir's ID, handed him a visitor badge that read special guest, and pointed him toward chrome elevators, explaining that the executive suite sat on floor 15. The elevator whooshed upward while soft music played, and Amir counted floors the way he once counted silent hallway shadows, steadying his breathing with each glowing number that lit above the steel doors. When the doors opened, a tall man in a gray suit waited beside a glass wall that overlooked the river, and his handshake felt warm yet firm, like someone who balances kindness with clear rules. "I'm Mr. Rahim, head of corporate security," the man said, guiding Amir past framed photos of long-serving employees and awards for community service that sparkled beneath tiny spotlights. They entered a meeting room filled with gentle sunlight and the faint smell of fresh coffee, where a tray of butter rolls sat on the table beside 2 steaming mugs labeled visitor and host in gold letters. Mr. Rahim invited Amir to sit near the window so he could enjoy the view, then asked, in a voice calm as library hush, if Amir would retell the events of the robbery night from start to finish. Amir spoke slowly, choosing simple words, and he noticed the executive nodding often, jotting notes on a leather pad while occasionally asking why certain choices, like steering the thieves to the service hall, proved safest. When Amir finished, Mr. Rahim closed his notebook and said he admired not only the guard's courage but also his clear thinking, stating that courage without good judgment can spill into needless risk. He then explained that the bank had launched a new security analyst trainee program, meant to grow leaders who knew ground-level work and could design smarter safety plans using real experience rather than only textbooks. "We believe you would shine in that program," Mr. Rahim said, sliding a navy folder across the smooth oak table, its front stamped with the bank's silver crescent logo and the words confidential offer. Amir's hands trembled slightly as he opened the folder, discovering a typed letter that offered him full-time study hours, mentorship, and a salary twice his current pay, plus tuition support for evening computer courses. A second sheet listed duties: reviewing camera layouts, testing alarm software, writing clear reports, and training new guards in comm risk communication, the very skills Amir had shown during the crisis. Amir swallowed, unsure if he deserved such faith, and asked why the bank would invest so much in someone who had only just moved from part-time shifts to full guard status 6 months earlier. Mr. Rahim smiled and said true talent often hides in plain sight, just as money hides in vaults, waiting for a careful eye to protect and polish it until its full worth shines. He added that customer surveys had already praised Amir's kindness, noting the little girl's night in the lobby remark had spread online, boosting public trust more effectively than many ad campaigns. Amir felt heat rise in his cheeks but kept listening, reminding himself that compliments are gifts you accept with quiet thanks, because pride grows heavy if you try to carry it like a shield all day long. The executive invited questions, so Amir asked how long the trainee program lasted and whether he could still support his mother, who relied on part of his paycheck for rent and groceries. Mr. Rahim explained the program spanned 12 months, blending paid class days with project weeks, and said the new salary plus study stipend should more than cover Amir's family needs. He also offered flexible shifts that allowed trainees to attend doctor appointments or family events. Because a distracted guard, he joked, watches screens but misses what matters behind the screens. Amir nodded, thinking of late bills that once kept him up at night, and felt a weight lifting, replaced by a bright curiosity about firewalls, intrusion logs, and emergency tabletop drills. Mr. Rahim stood, walked to a side cabinet, and returned with a small, hardcover book titled Plain Language Report Writing, saying the first lesson was to write so that even a sixth grader could understand security alerts. Amir laughed softly, admitting he used that same rule whenever he explained alarm instructions to new evening guards, and Mr. Rahim chuckled that great minds share simple tricks. The talk then shifted to ethics, and the executive stressed that an analyst must honor privacy, guard data like cash, and report mistakes the moment they occur, because secrecy about errors breeds bigger disasters. Amir listened closely, recalling how quickly fear grew in the robbers once their secret plan had cracked open, teaching that hidden wrongs burst louder than spoken truths. Mr. Rahim offered a final piece of advice: stay humble, stay curious, stay steady, 3 short commands that felt like north, south, east on a compass guiding a long career journey. He extended a silver pen engraved with the Crescent logo and asked Amir to sign the acceptance line whenever he felt ready, today, tomorrow, or next week, but before the end of the month. Amir hesitated only a heartbeat, thinking of night patrols, cold coffee, lonely corridors, and the way danger had surprised him like a pop quiz. Then he pictured brighter halls where he could design safer quizzes for others. With steady breath, he signed his name in neat letters, surprised by how bold the ink looked, as if the pen itself carried hidden courage that flowed into each curve of his signature. Mr. Rahim shook Amir's hand again, this time calling him Analyst Trainee Khan, and the title felt both heavy and light, like a brand-new backpack stuffed with schoolbooks and possibility. They celebrated with butter rolls and coffee, and Amir noticed the host mug now sat in front of him, while the visitor mug moved to Mr. Rahim, a quiet symbol that roles had already begun to shift. Before Amir left, the executive asked him to bring the blue ribbon pin to orientation day, so the first lecture could start with a reminder that courage and learning should always stand side by side. Riding the elevator down, Amir watched his reflection in the mirrored walls, trying to see the trainee instead of the guard, and he realized both faces belonged to the same patient learner. Outside, the river shimmered under bright noon sun, and a breeze lifted his shirt collar as if urging him forward, while distant traffic hummed a tune that sounded oddly like applause. Amir phoned his mother from the bus stop, voice shaky with joy, and she cried happy tears, saying she would cook his favorite lentil stew tonight and invite neighbors to hear the go. Amir began the analyst trainee program on a bright Tuesday, carrying a neat notebook, 2 pencils, and the silver pen from Mr. Rahim, feeling ready to learn every rule that keeps banks safe, under bright classroom lights. The first lecture covered camera angles, showing how a wide lens sees corners people forget, and Amir sketched lobby maps, marking each spot where robbers might hide, under bright classroom lights. Classmates came from many branches, including a former teller and an IT intern, and they introduced themselves by sharing one close call they had solved on the front line, under bright classroom lights. The instructor, Ms. Diaz, explained that strong safety plans start with simple questions like who, what, where, and when, because fancy words trip helpers during real pressure moments, under bright classroom lights. Amir aced quizzes on alarm codes, making sure each question used plain language a 6th grader could read, since confused guards waste precious seconds flipping rule books, under bright classroom lights. During breaks, he traded donuts with new friends, joking that sugar saved his nerves after robbery night, and others teased he should open a bakery inside every branch. Week 2 focused on digital firewalls, and Amir traced strange logins the way he once followed hallway shadows, proving old skills can wear new clothes. He stayed after class to ask Ms. Diaz how to explain encryption to guards who feared computers, and she said locked diary stories turn fear into curiosity. At home, Amir typed reports on a borrowed laptop while his mother read aloud, nodding when the story sounded easy enough for her neighbor's children. One exercise staged a mock break-in at closing time. Amir led the team, assigning lookout zones, calling pretend police, and calming fake customers. Observers praised his steady voice, noting that calm tones spread faster than panic, and Amir wrote that sentence in bold atop his notebook. Fridays meant mentor lunches on the rooftop cafe, where senior analysts shared tales of catching fraud before money vanished. Amir listened like a night guard watching screens. On the third Monday, Mr. Rahim visited class, bringing photos from the robbery to show what went right and what still needed work. Amir asked why one corridor camera gave off a glare, and Mr. Rahim agreed it needed a filter change, proving fresh eyes spot old problems. Homework required shrinking long rule sheets to half their size without losing meaning, which felt like carving statues from two big stones. Each evening, Amir jogged 3 laps around the park to keep his body strong, knowing a sharp mind still needs healthy lungs when alarms sound. Mid-month, trainees toured the central server room, where cold air and blinking lights resembled a cave of electronic stars guiding city money. Technicians explained that servers store not just numbers but trust, and Amir realized he now guarded treasure as invisible as it was valuable. A surprise drill cut classroom power, and students guided visitors with glow sticks, turning darkness into a learning tool. Amir counted steps aloud so no one hit walls, and Ms. Diaz said his clear counting beat flashlights that sometimes fail at bad moments. To build habits, Amir wrote 3-sentence summaries of each day every sunrise, keeping memories sharp for future examples. Friends teased he was building a library inside one notebook. Amir replied that every guard needs shelves of wisdom ready for quick borrowing. Saturday study groups met at the public library, and Amir simplified coding terms for classmates, proving teaching cements knowledge like nails. End-of-month midterms ranked Amir second, 2 points behind the IT intern, pushing him to reread his firewall guide twice over dinner. Mr. Rahim praised the progress, reminding him success mixes skill with teamwork, because lone heroes miss clues partners catch in a blink. With trainee pay, Amir bought his mother a new kettle to replace her dented one, and she held it like a medal shining on parade day. Class moved to social engineering traps, teaching that friendly voices on phones sometimes hide thieves, so trainees practiced polite refusals. Amir roleplayed a caller posing as a lost courier, balancing empathy with firm policy. Showing helpful does not equal careless. Late one evening, Amir linked incident charts with colored pens, feeling the thrill of solving puzzles that stop crimes before they start. He emailed Ms. Diaz a camera plan for small branches, and she replied at dawn, praising his idea of mirrors stretching tight budgets. Disaster backup lessons sparked questions about flood sensors. Amir remembered rain tapping lobby doors after the arrest and took notes. In lab time, he set each alert message to under 20 words, ensuring guards would read the full sentence even during loud chaos. Peer reviewers circled his sheet with green, very clear stamps, and Amir saved it to remind him that clarity grows when others water the seed. Week 6 field visits revealed one guard reading comics on duty. Amir gently reminded him that eyes up protect more than screens do. Back in class, they explored human fatigue, and Amir shared stretching tips learned during long, lonely night shifts. To celebrate server test passes, trainees held a courtyard picnic. Amir brought lentil stew, winning recipe requests and making his mother beam. Mr. Rahim told a story about his first security mistake, showing leaders stumble, yet turn trips into stepping stones that lift the team. Amir thanked him, seeing that spoken truth becomes a lantern in fog, especially when pride tempts people to hide bruises. On the bus ride home, Amir reread his first notebook page and saw how tiny his early worries looked beside the forest of new lessons. He closed the book, watched city lights slide past, and realized learning felt less like climbing a mountain and more like building bridges linking yesterday's guard to tomorrow's analyst. The trainee program moved into its second half, and Amir now blended classroom lessons with real branch visits, walking busy lobbies while holding a digital clipboard that glowed with checklists. He had designed himself for simple daily safety checks, with steady breath and careful steps. Each morning he woke at dawn, stretched under the open window to feel fresh air on his face, and repeated Mr. Rahim's 3 rules: stay humble, stay curious, stay steady, like stepping stones guiding his thoughts before breakfast porridge cooled in the bowl, with steady breath and careful steps. One Monday, Amir and his study partner Lila, a former teller who loved puzzles, were assigned to audit Cedar Street branch, a small office squeezed between a grocery store and a flower shop that filled the air with sweet scents even through closed doors. with steady breath and careful steps. Inside, they greeted Mr. Go, the branch manager, who confessed an aging alarm panel often beeped random codes, confusing night guards. Amir smiled gently, promising to translate each blinking light into clear words that could fit on a single sticky note, with steady breath and careful steps. First, they checked camera views, noticing one corner near the children's coin machine sat hidden behind a cardboard mascot. Amir sketched a new plan using mirrors so one camera could watch 2 aisles without adding extra cost. Lila tested silent alarm buttons with a training keypad and found one frayed wire. Amir taped the section in bright orange and wrote a work order, adding a cartoon wrench to make the request friendly and clear. At noon, they joined tellers for lunch in the tiny break room, where Amir shared homemade lentil wraps, telling the robbery story. Listeners leaned closer, amazed that calm words beat crowbars louder than any superhero punch. After lunch, they hosted a short quiz asking guards to explain evacuation maps in under 30 seconds. Those who used plain language earned chocolate coins, and laughs proved learning grows faster when it tastes like candy. The afternoon brought a planned blackout test. Amir guided staff to practice manual steps. Doors locked, logs handwritten, customer smiles steady, because trust should not flicker even when lights do. When power dropped and red bulbs glowed, Amir timed backup batteries, writing the number large on a whiteboard so future guards would not guess. Clear numbers, he said, are flashlights for the mind. Once lights snapped back, Lila reviewed transaction logs and spotted 2 entries 1 second apart. Impossible for human hands. Amir traced the glitch to old software that stamped ghost lines and filed a patch ticket. Mr. Go thanked them for finding small cracks before they widened, calling the duo detectives in business suits. Amir laughed, saying true detectives were comfy shoes because long hauls humble aching feet. Back at headquarters, Amir summarized the visit in 300 words, adding bold headings so tired readers could skim, like life preservers floating on a sea of everyday emails. Ms. Diaz replied before dawn with a thumbs-up emoji, and the note "Clarity gets coffee moving," which made Amir grin as he poured hot water, picturing tiny letters steering steam like pilots guiding clouds. Week after week, similar audits sharpened Amir's eye. He saw risk where others saw routine, like brochures blocking a camera or a welcome mat curled enough to trip customers. During a cyber drill, Amir traced a phishing email pretending to be a candy supplier. He compared IP logs to a shady server, then wrote a guide titled "Sweets Can Be Traps" with jelly bean icons for memory. His mentor Greta invited him to present the guide at an all-staff webinar. Amir spoke slowly, slides in big fonts, and chat messages flooded with thanks, proving kindness carries lessons deeper than fear. At the webinar's end, Greta announced a contest. Trainees would design the security plan for the new Riverside branch, and the winning blueprint would guide sites across the region. Amir teamed with Lila and walked the empty concrete shell echoing with hammers. They paste-taped outlines of counters, imagining lines of customers twisting like rivers where pickpockets might lurk. They placed bright cones where cameras should hang, labeling each cone with animal nicknames, eagle, cat, owl, so installers could recall angles without decoding tech jargon atop tall ladders. At night, they drafted evacuation routes shaped like tree branches, each path named after fruit: apple exit, mango exit, believing colorful words stick when alarms roar louder than thoughts. To test clarity, Amir read the plan to his neighbor's 10-year-old Yusuf, who repeated directions perfectly. Amir noted, "If Yusuf gets it, grown-ups will too," a rule he vowed never to forget. Competition day arrived. Teams presented to a panel with Mr. Rahim, Greta, and board members. Lila clicked slides while Amir turned technical talk into a guided tour. When judges asked why exits held fruit names, Amir said hungry brains remember food even when stressed, and laughter rippled. Humor, he explained, builds mental hooks stronger than dry code numbers. The panel deliberated over sandwiches. Amir and Lila played paper football, reminding themselves nerves shrink when fun stretches across waiting minutes. Mr. Rahim returned grinning. Their plan ranked highest in clarity, budget use, and creative memory aids. Cheers rose and time slowed, framing a new bright chapter. The reward included leading installation crews for Riverside Branch under Greta's guidance. Amir realized he would wear a hard hat instead of a guard cap. Proof courage wears many costumes. That evening, he phoned his mother, who clapped over the line, saying she always knew he built safety, whether stacking dishes carefully or double-locking doors during childhood storms. Next morning, the trainee victory hit the newsletter. Old co-workers texted confetti emojis, while the little girl in the yellow raincoat sent a drawing of Amir wearing a fruit helmet. Greta celebrated with pastries labeled like exits, apple tart, mango muffin, turning the meeting room into a tasty map. and everyone agreed learning never smelled so sweet. Construction weeks blurred into lists of deliveries, cable runs, and device tests. Amir kept a whiteboard titled Questions Needed, adding sticky notes whenever doubts flickered. On a windy Friday, the first camera powered on and matched their cone positions perfectly. Amir fist-bumped Lila as puzzle pieces clicked snug. Fire inspectors visited. Amir showed smoke sensors marked by stickers of dragons blowing harmless clouds, earning chuckles and rapid approval stamps. With systems nearly done, Amir wrote manuals in 2 parts, a wallet-sized quick guide and a binder version. Both open with "Safety is a game we win together," highlighted in sunshine yellow. Grand opening day dawned crisp. Balloons floated and a ribbon waited. Amir stood beside Lila in suits for the first time, shield pins gleaming like tiny dawns. A journalist asked how guarding compares to designing. Amir answered that guards are headlights watching the road while designers build the map, and together they keep travelers from stumbling. The article titled From Night Watch to Daylight Designer ran online, and messages poured in from students who said the story proved small jobs can open tall doors. Amir replied to every note before midnight, typing thank you lines until his laptop battery blinked red, whispering that gratitude feels lighter than sleep yet warmer than blankets. Summer ended with Riverside Branch running smoothly, and Amir walked the lobby each morning checking that fruit exits stayed clear and dragon stickers still smiled above the smoke sensors, with steady calm as hope grew for everyone. Board members toured the site and praised the simple signs that helped customers feel safe without reading thick manuals, under bright lights while staying humble for everyone. Greta reported that accident reports fell to 0 in the first month, proving clear plans guard more than locked doors. In clear words, near curious staff for everyone. One Friday, the regional director called Amir and Lila to headquarters to present their results to senior leaders, with careful steps while staying humble for everyone. They created posters filled with bright pictures instead of heavy charts so ideas could fly straight into busy minds, with friendly tone as weeks rolled for everyone. In the meeting room, Amir spoke slowly, telling how a 10-year-old named Yusuf tested the plan and proved its power, near curious staff with steady calm. Executives laughed kindly and admitted they sometimes feel like 10-year-olds when technology talks too fast, in clear words as hope grew. After the talk, the director offered both trainees permanent roles as junior security designers across all city branches, under bright lights while staying humble. Amir's new badge looked silver and smooth, and the title felt heavy yet exciting, like holding a new key to a big puzzle, with careful steps while hope grew. He kept the blue shield pinned beside the badge to remember long nights that taught him why clear safety matters, with steady calm near helpful mentors. Lila suggested a celebration at the corner park, and the team ate mango muffins while pigeons searched for crumbs, in clear words with friendly tone. Amir thanked Greta for patient guidance, saying teachers are bridges that carry learners over confusing rivers, with careful steps under bright lights. Greta replied that good students build new bridges for others, and she believed Amir was already laying fresh planks while staying humble as weeks rolled. The next week, Amir started visiting older branches to rewrite emergency guides that still used tiny fonts and hard words, near curious staff with steady calm. He met veteran guards who felt shy about computers, so he compared firewalls to castle walls and passwords to drawbridges, in clear words while hope grew. Smiles spread as fears shrank, and one guard promised to teach his grandson the castle trick because fun ideas travel fast, with friendly tone as weeks rolled. Amir then designed a one-page poster called Safe 6, listing 6 quick steps to follow when any alarm rings, under bright lights while staying humble. He printed the poster in bright orange so no one could miss it, and even customers snapped photos to copy at home, with careful steps near curious staff. At home, Amir painted the poster message on his own kitchen wall to remind himself that practice begins inside small rooms, with steady calm under bright lights. His mother invited neighbors to see the wall, and they asked him to hold a weekend class for kids about bank safety, with friendly tone as hope grew. Amir agreed, creating games where children pretended to be cameras spotting toy robbers sneaking around chairs, while staying humble near curious staff. Laughter filled the apartment, and parents said safety never sounded so fun until now, in clear words with steady calm. News of the kids' class reached Mr. Rahim, who asked Amir to film a short video so rural branches could use the same games, under bright lights as weeks rolled. Amir wrote a script with short sentences and big actions, then filmed it with his phone propped on a cereal box tripod, with careful steps while hope grew. The video showed how to build alarm codes using colored beads, and views climbed quickly on the bank training site, in clear words near curious staff. A month later, customer surveys showed trust levels rising, and one comment read that banks felt like friendly schools with friendly tone under bright lights. The director shared the survey in a company-wide email and highlighted Amir's name in bold yellow, while staying humble with steady calm. Amir blushed at the spotlight but replied that every bright result grew from a whole garden of helpers, in clear words with careful steps. Next quarter budgets arrived, and leadership funded a new program called Clear Words, putting Amir in charge, near curious staff while hope grew. He gathered a team of writers, artists, and junior guards to create guides with pictures, simple text, and fun tests, under bright lights with friendly tone. They met in a sunny conference room where walls were painted like notebook pages to spark creative thinking, with steady calm as weeks rolled. The team agreed that if a sixth grader could not understand a page within 1 minute, the page had to be fixed, in clear words while staying humble. Amir set timers and watched writers race the clock, cheering when plain words beat tricky terms, with careful steps near curious staff. Greta visited and laughed at the playful contests, saying work that feels like play often builds the strongest walls, under bright lights with steady calm. By winter, the Clear Words kit shipped to every branch in bright green boxes with cartoons of smiling safes on the lids, while hope grew as weeks rolled. Managers sent photos of staff opening boxes like holiday gifts, proving learning spreads faster when wrapped in joy, with friendly tone and clear words. The bank's annual meeting arrived, and Amir stood on stage beside a huge screen showing safety numbers climbing high, under bright lights while staying humble. He thanked night guards who still sip thin coffee and watch silent halls, reminding leaders that heroes grow from quiet posts, with steady calm near helpful mentors. Applause thundered, and Amir spotted his mother waving a tiny blue flag she crafted from ribbon, with careful steps while hope grew. Walking off stage, he whispered his motto, "Stay humble, stay curious, stay steady," knowing each word would guide tomorrow's clearer, safer paths for everyone. Winter melted into a bright spring, and Amir began each day walking past blooming trees toward headquarters, feeling the cool wind tug at his suit jacket like an eager friend reminding him to keep moving forward with courage. Greta had just been promoted to Director of Innovation, and her first act was to invite Amir to help design a bank-wide safety fair where every branch could share ideas the way neighbors trade helpful seeds in a garden. The board liked the plan and set a date in May, giving Amir 10 short weeks to turn blank halls into an adventure path of booths, posters, and tiny games that would teach big lessons without scaring anyone. Amir smiled at the challenge, remembering the night he faced 2 robbers with only a calm voice and a hidden radio, proof that big problems can shrink when you break them into clear steps. He built a planning wall covered in colored cards, yellow for tasks, green for helpers, blue for deadlines, and joked that the wall looked like a giant fruit salad for the mind. Lila led the move like smoke booth, teaching quick exit drills. She used fog machines and flashlights, turning safety practice into a playful treasure hunt that even shy branch managers joined with grins. Greta asked Amir to design the opening speech, so he wrote simple lines about trust being invisible money that grows when shared and shrinks when forgotten, then practiced saying them until the words felt like smooth stones in his pocket. The marketing team printed giant dragon stickers that pointed visitors from one booth to the next, and Amir laughed softly because the dragons seemed to wink, as if proud of their journey from smoke sensors to guiding arrows. He invited Yusuf and other neighborhood kids to test the fair layout, letting them race between stations, anytime how long they paused to read signs. If the pause lasted more than 7 seconds, the words were rewritten. One booth let guests stack color beads to build alarm codes, and another used mirrors to show blind spots and camera angles, both ideas borrowed from lessons that once turned worried guards into confident teachers. Amir persuaded the cafeteria staff to rename snacks after safety tips, firewall fries, Clear Words cookies, trust tacos, so hungry visitors would eat advice along with lunch. With 1 week left, a sudden shipment delay threatened the booth banners, but Mir calmed the team by dividing tasks, calling printers, and asking volunteers to decorate plain sheets with bright markers, proving speed grows when panic stays outside. Opening day dawned sunny, and river light danced on the bank's tall windows, while volunteers in lime vests guided a line of visitors that stretched like a ribbon down the block. The regional director cut a gold ribbon at the entrance and thanked Amir for turning serious work into a friendly festival, then handed him a microphone for the speech he had practiced by heart. Amir stood on a low stage, looked at the crowd of guards, tellers, executives, children, and retirees, and felt his pulse slow the way it had in the lobby on robbery night. He told them safety starts with one promise: "I will care about you," and he asked everyone to repeat the line until the words floated through the hall like gentle bells. Laughter followed when he pointed to the snack table, and said even tacos can teach if you let them, and phones flashed as people snapped photos of their firewall fries. Throughout the morning, visitors stamped passports at each booth, earning stickers shaped like tiny shields, and each stamp made a soft click that sounded to Amir like new locks sliding into place across the entire city. Media cameras rolled as Yusuf demonstrated bead code bracelets, explaining that red beads mean fire and blue beads mean flood, and reporters nodded, impressed that a child could explain policy better than many thick binders. An elderly guard from a rural branch thanked Amir for the castle password story, saying it helped him fix weak logins without feeling foolish, and Amir replied that brave questions build stronger walls than silent worries. At noon, a surprise guest arrived, the same bank manager who had rushed into the lobby wearing pajamas after the failed robbery. He hugged Amir and said the fair proved that one brave night can spark 1,000 safer days. Greta announced mid-fair numbers showing record attendance, and board members whispered about taking the show on the road to other regions, turning Amir's map of colored cards into a possible national tour. Lila rang a small bell each time a visitor finished all booths, and by mid-afternoon the bell chimed so often it sounded like cheerful rain on a metal roof. Amir noticed a quiet janitor watching from the edge and invited him to try the mirror game. The janitor found 2 hidden blind spots no one else had seen, earning cheers and a quick repair order. The moment reminded Amir that titles matter less than eyes willing to look closely, a truth he promised never to forget. Near closing time, Mr. Rahim arrived and handed Amir an envelope marked confidential, saying only that courage keeps climbing if you give it fresh stares. Curious but patient, Amir finished cleanup first, thanking every volunteer, shaking hands until his palms tingled with happy exhaustion. He finally opened the envelope beside the Dragon Arrow banner he planned to save for his office wall. Inside lay a promotion letter naming him Senior Safety Architect and leader of the upcoming traveling fair project. The package also held a small silver key and a note. This opens the new training lab. Design it as brightly as you wish. Amir's breath caught, but he smiled, remembering his first night shifts when the only key he carried opened a broom closet where he ate quiet dinners. He phoned his mother, who screamed with delight loud enough that nearby volunteers clapped without hearing the other side of the call. Walking home under a pink sunset, Amir held the silver key like a warm stone, planning a lab filled with fruit-named exits, dragon markers, and walls painted like notebook pages so no idea would feel too small to write down. He decided the first class in that lab would invite night guards to share stories before touching a single computer, because stories teach hearts while manuals teach hands. As streetlights flicked on, Amir passed Crescent City Bank's original branch, and the lobby lights made the marble floor glow exactly as it had on robbery night. He paused, pressed his palm to the cool glass, and whispered thanks to the younger guard who once trusted training, cardboard coffee, and a hidden radio more than fear. A bus rumbled by, carrying new guards toward their shifts, and Amir nodded at them, knowing they probably felt the same quiet mix of hope and worry he had felt years ago. He promised to fill his future manuals with simple words and kind examples, so those guards could spend less time guessing and more time watching shadows turn into sunrise. Raindrops began to fall, gentle and steady, and Amir laughed because nature seemed to applaud with soft claps on the sidewalk, blessing every clear sentence and friendly symbol drawn that day. He tucked the silver key safely in his pocket, quickened his step toward home, and imagined the training lab doors opening like storybooks waiting for fresh pages. Above him, the city's skyline shimmered, each window a tiny star, and Amir walked beneath them thinking that trust, like light, grows brightest when one brave person shares it with everyone in sight.